Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Strikes Back. My name is George, and you're listening to our worst of 2018 with the boys Connor,
Pew, pew, pew.
and Benny.
Hello there.
Guys, we've just done our best of the year, so definitely go check it out for a very flowery, positive, uplifting vibe. But now it's about to get dour, negative, and goddamn obnoxious with these criticisms. I'm so excited. I think I'm going to piss you off today, Connor.
I hope you do, because I know I'm going to
chance.
piss you off. I feel like I'll feel a bit
Yes!
better.
This is where it all fucking happens.
Oh boy.
Why don't you start this time?
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Something nice we can do for you.
Can I start? I'm going to start with something that I think is going to piss you off, Connor. Incredibles 2.
That's my number 5.
I knew this was going to happen.
So
Incredibles
funny.
2.
I knew you were going to say that.
Number
Okay.
5.
Yep. All right.
Honestly, I think I talked about this in the review. I went and watched Incredibles 1 right after this.
Such a dumb thing to do.
And
No, that's fair. That's fair.
You know, it's hard to even compare these films. I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
there's no doubt that Incredibles 2 is vastly superior in terms of the visuals, the CG. It's a more refined, it's 14 years of progress in computer tech and
animation,
everything.
yeah.
Everything. It's got all that advantage, and you can see that. But what it doesn't have is the characters, the story, the memorable moments.
the heart.
Really, it is about that. And I was so bitterly disappointed with Incredibles 2.
I think bitter is a very key word in that.
Yeah, I think it was very by the numbers, and it just didn't resonate with me.
Was there
And
a plot in it?
It was the most basic plot you've ever seen,
Oh.
and it didn't even play with it like in a meta way. Like, oh, we've seen this plot a million times. It was like, wow, that's it.
It did-
Really?
yeah, it did
That's
the most-
lazy. That's so lazy.
It did the most basic, and this really spins off what we were talking about a lot in the last, the top 10. It did the most basic, like, this one's for the chicks. Like, this time Mrs. Incredible's leading the charge. But it didn't do anything with that.
But then it had a mad ass shot that everyone was doing in memes with Mrs. Incredible, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, this movie I didn't hate. It was thoroughly watchable. I only put it on here because it...
Because it pissed me off.
No, because so I mentioned there was 22 movies on my shortlist for the best. There was 7 on my shortlist for the worst. So this is a good year. I think we just did a really good job at not watching a lot of shitty movies. Unfortunately.
There's a lot of them that I think when I looked at
Robin
the
Hood.
movies that I wanted
that's
to...
that's exactly what I'm
that I
saying.
wanted to see by the end of the year. I intentionally included movies that I thought were kind of more mainstream enough that we should have watched them, but that were quite clearly ones that I probably wasn't going to enjoy. And I feel like we missed so many of them.
I think the cinema that we watch free movies at, therefore the only place we would want to watch shitty movies, got better at not picking shitty movies a bit. So I think that was part of it. This movie's on here because in terms of drop between, of quality between first and second. So, in essence being a massive disappointment. And my expectations weren't too high, but still this movie was just like watchable. That's the best thing I would say
This
about
is
it.
the thing, that my expectations going into this were so low. Like they were I hate the idea of Pixar doing sequels. I loved Incredibles as a little unit. And if they were going to do something, I would have loved to have seen them do something 10 years later, because I thought the idea of just picking
Absolutely.
it up straight after was going to be fucking weird as shit.
Yeah, it's what they did with Nemo.
So, I mean, coming into it, I feel like I didn't have that big drop off that I think that perhaps both of you had.
No, I honestly think my expectations were like around that, because I hate all of those things you mentioned too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hated them all as well. Probably way more than you. Finding Dory, I detest that movie.
Yeah.
But this is my point. Like, I don't understand how you drop that heavy. Like there were objectively worse films this year than
4 of them.
Well, I mean, there was like 10 of them that were objectively worse. But I mean, like I would have never thought of putting this in my bottom 5. I would have even less likely
It's very
to put
subjective.
it in my top 10.
This whole list is extremely subjective.
I mean,
and it comes down
always
to
is, but I just think that you're being...
what rode me the what it's not even that I was expecting something masterful with Incredibles 2. I was expecting something average, and for me this was below this was below average.
It was average.
It was very
And because you're comparing
pedestrian, I
it
would
to
call it.
you're comparing it to one of the greater superhero
Which is
films.
incredibly fair considering it's the second
And
part
Brad
of that
Bird, it's not like
franchise.
some
Yeah,
chump
I mean,
coming
like,
in.
yeah.
It's Brad fucking Bird.
Yeah, the
son.
same dude
Look,
coming back.
Not worth putting on the
The auteur director of Tomorrowland.
You're kind of making my point for me. Okay, well, Ben, that was your 5 as well, right?
Yeah, but I got
right.
more to say. I don't really. This movie sucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Honestly,
It didn't.
sucked so
It didn't.
bad.
I mean, like we've been through, like even in your review, you admitted that it didn't suck.
Connor, we can have our own opinions about movies. It's fine.
Yeah.
You love,
know, but
you
like,
love
it-
Incredibles
like-
too. That's all right.
Then it kind
You
of.
think, why wasn't it your top
Sucks,
10?
man. What's one scene that's good about Incredibles 2?
The raccoon
You're not going
and
to
Jack scene.
That's obviously.
Name another one.
Now you're not allowed to.
There you go.
You
There
can
you
just
fucking
keep
go.
adding
One
shit.
other
You
good-
cannot
There
keep just
are
adding
no-
shit
No,
to your
hang
argument.
on. Answer the question. Sustained.
But I mean, like that's my point. Like it was a kind of almost a forgettable film in terms of like it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great, so doesn't deserve
I
to
will
be on the
second
worst
Benny
five.
in that it was like I would say my top five, my bottom five, sorry, is fairly encompassed by disappointments or things that rubbed me the wrong way, as
Yeah.
opposed to objectively that is the worst film
And that- look,
of the
that's-
year.
That's fair, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, all right. So then I will ask you if it was not an Incredibles movie, then would this still be in your bottom 5?
No.
No.
If I'd seen one more blockbuster, this probably wouldn't be in my bottom 5. If I'd seen Robin Hood, this wouldn't be in my bottom 5.
Yeah.
But there's a movie in my honorable mentions, just one that I would say is worse than this. But this
That
one
you
I
disliked more.
no, that I think is a worse film. But I just wanted to give a shout out to this because like
such a drop from one.
following up
Yeah,
one of the
alright.
greatest movies ever made. What a fucking
Fuck that cruise
Bullshit,
ship,
man.
man.
So,
Fucking hell, son.
This is a bit of a weird one for me because this is something that I think I was relatively when I watched it, I was relatively not keen on, but lenient on is probably a better word. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, but then have severely soured subsequently, and that is Solo.
Solo.
Solo was a movie that has been plagued by bad press for just an absolute age for over a year before it actually came out.
The announcement was bad press. We're making a Han Solo prequel.
Yeah, I was like, oh, why? And that was my from day one. I think it's pretty much when we started the podcast. It was one of the first stories that we really covered was the Han Solo film. From day one, I was like, I don't want a Han Solo film. I really don't want a Han Solo film. And so leading up to this, I was so fucking just like, oh, this is not going to be good. The press is bad. The advertising beforehand was horrific. Like they only came out with a trailer like 2 months before release. It didn't feel like a Star Wars film. It didn't feel like an event. It didn't feel like everything was done wrong with it. It was done in the same year as, or just shortly after.
Within a year.
Yeah. A lot of things didn't work for this film.
Yeah, so everything going against it. So when I actually watched the film, I was like, this isn't actually that bad.
And I think if you watch it again, you'd probably say the same thing.
I probably would, but there are a couple of things about this film that every time I think about it, I just get angry.
Yeah,
And that
me
is
too.
very much everything to do with it being a Star Wars film. And the fact that inevitably all the weakest points of these kind of offshoot films is the way they try and connect everything, and the fact that Han Solo is integral in the beginning of the rebellion just incensed me.
Yeah.
The whole
That was
the,
dumb.
No,
the
the
whole
naming
motivation.
thing. The naming thing is the worst.
The
That's the
naming
worst
thing?
crime of this
No, no,
film.
for
That
me,
didn't bother me at all. I thought that was cute.
No,
For me,
that is the
that was
worst
not
crime.
cute. Fuck
No,
you.
so like it was dumb enough that it was
honestly,
just
that's
cute.
Lauren Howard getting the biggest gobby, going like snorting that shit and spitting it in my face. That's what that is, and I'm like, "Fuck you, Howard."
I was
Fuck
thinking of a
you.
different meaning of gobby, and
so was I. I was like,
very
that's
confused
weird.
about where you were going there. Yeah.
Is that the wrong term?
is that-
Have I been saying
Yes.
that wrong for
That is-
29 years?
Why was he snorting during it?
Oh, I had the biggest gobby the other day.
In my face.
That is not what that means.
Hmm.
Anyways,
It's a golly, isn't it? Golly, that's the word I'm looking for.
Maybe it is. I don't know what you
I'm
mean.
not your friend.
One of the biggest crimes for me was that the fucking cameo that so many people love, but for me that was so fucking ham-fisted in there,
Darth Maul.
and the whole motivation for the betrayal, like that was so out of left field. Like the motivations were so not clear, and the whole point of it was to set something else up, or like I'm not even sure why it's in there. To be fucking
and it's a
perfectly
blue
honest.
hologram, and he opens the lightsaber that they're red.
Yeah. That. Fuck you. As if you're like, he's gonna turn the lightsaber. You're like, we get what you're fucking doing. Fuck you. Anyways, that like it's scenes like that really just made me sour.
I
on
don't
this
ever
film.
really want to watch this movie again.
No, I don't think
I
so.
just-
This is a movie I
which is-
enjoyed quite a lot.
Yeah, me
and,
too.
And I won't defend it on any point. That
No,
you're
me
making.
neither.
Yeah.
The one thing I will defend it on this is the Kessel Run and how they fucking manage to actually make that work.
Yeah.
The parsec as
That
a
was-
unit of distance, they made that work.
That was probably the biggest criticism we had pre-film.
Yeah.
Was, they're doing the Kessel
Yeah.
Run. Holy fuck!
Yeah,
And
they
that was
actually
really
cleaned
cool.
that up.
Yeah, I would say I think it is potentially the best looking Star Wars film.
Oh, yeah,
it is stunning.
Yeah,
but
that's flawless.
I have no interest in
Actually,
going back to any part
The
of
Last Jedi was pretty fucking
it. Yeah,
stunning.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
I'd
So
say-
I said potentially.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
so
close-
that's
close
my number
race.
5. I think that, like just every time I think about that film, while I had a good time when I watched it for the most part, the more I think about it, the more I just fucking just.
Totally, yeah. My only thing is just I went the opposite way that I did with Incredibles, where everything about it sucked so hard leading up to it that I watched it. I'm like, I enjoyed that, so that it's kind of just positive associations for me.
Yeah. Number 4, the Cloverfield Paradox.
That's my number 4.
Are you gonna mirror it? Like this is gonna. Oh Christ!
Let's see what happens. I know our number 1's probably going to be the same.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
like,
our number 1's going to be the same.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think out of 3 and 2,
We'll see,
I think one of them is going to be the same.
We'll see.
You haven't seen my number 2, I know.
Cloverfield Paradox. I mean, what can I say about this movie? That
How can you
hasn't
say
already
anything
been
about it?
said?
What was this movie?
I'm actually
you
really
know
glad
what?
that I gave this a miss.
You
know
should
what?
check it out because it's
I
bizarre.
actually, you know what? To be honest, I keep looking at it on Netflix. I'm like, am I gonna really delve in today?
Don't.
No, there's something
Honestly,
else. I
don't
can
do it.
Before I
Don't
let,
do it, bro.
before you jump in, before
He'll
you,
tell you to do
You
it.
look
Don't do it.
disheveled.
man.
before you jump into it, Georgie, I would actually say this is the one on my list that I think is enough of a what the fuck watch. Like it is so.
I need to watch it with someone. I can't just watch it on my
No.
own because I
Yeah,
just be like,
yeah,
what
totally.
the
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
is like-
I'll watch it again because it is so weird.
Yeah?
I don't hate this movie.
I'll hold you to
I
that.
think
You know what? I would watch it just to watch the whole movie and watch the final scene and see your face and reaction.
Yeah, no. How
would
about
do that. I
Connor
would
Connor
do
watches
that.
the movie and we just sit there and watch him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre this film. Anyway, George.
I don't know. I really don't have much to say, man.
Yeah.
Like
it deserves to be on the bottom 5. Like,
It's
it just
barely
has
a
to be.
film.
there was so many things that I liked about this. The release, the Super Bowl. It's out
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
or out
Or after the
tomorrow,
game.
or that was cool.
Yeah.
How JJ repackaged a film and made it a Cloverfield. That was cool.
Theoretically,
Everything else, no.
great, amazing cast,
Amazing
ridiculously good cast,
Amazing cast.
Yeah.
And I
And I would still say, for the most part, a pretty good looking movie, pretty good production design
Solid.
on the space
Solid.
stuff.
And that bit, there's one bit where it's like they're orbiting around, and it's like, wow, these guys actually. There's a point in the film where you guys like these guys actually don't know what the fuck they're gonna do and how to wrap this up.
Yeah.
That's how I like.
No,
Like
completely.
there's literally no control of a narrative here.
It was so kitchen sink. It was just a bunch of really weird shit happening, and then you really very clearly, very explicitly got the sense that it was not going to wrap up. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know
Yeah.
what any of it meant. I've never seen a movie make less sense, to be honest.
And not actually give a fuck that it wasn't making sense.
Yeah, like it seemed like they just got reached a point where they're like,
We've gone too far. In for
"Thi-
penny, in for
thi-
pound.
This is 4 different scripts mashed together.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Sorry, it's a Netflix movie. Who gives a shit?
Yep.
Yeah,
All right.
bewildering.
My number 4 is Bumblebee.
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 Wow.
Wow.
You didn't watch a lot of movies this year, did you?
Well, no,
Really?
there's a couple of others that might have been able to make it, but
Bumblebee, really?
the more I think about it, the more I was like, I kind of re-listened to our review of it, And
I thought you might have.
yeah,
Yeah. You heard us saying nice things, and you're like, "Oh, fuck this movie."
Fuck these guys.
Fuck Venom, Georgie. Fuck
For
those
me, I
guys.
think, to be honest, one of the things that has bothered me about that is how just the Rotten Tomatoes score and how everyone's like, it's on like 100% or whatever it was when it kind of got released. And I was like, this movie so doesn't deserve that. Like it's such an average movie. Like
You're a
at
big boy,
best.
though. You know how Rotten Tomatoes works.
I know- I know exactly how it works.
That's 100% of 6 out of 10s. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, like this movie for me was just such a departure from what it could have been. Like I think I really just
It's such a departure from Michael Bay's
well, no. Literally, it was because
Damn
it,
them.
they fucked up the
Was because
continuity.
Of Michael Bay's
it was
magnum
because
opus.
it was a departure from Michael Bay that I thought it was going to be really good. Like I got sucked into the same kind of bullshittery that I get sucked into every single time a new Transformers film comes out, which is this one could be good. And there was actual credibility behind this one. Like this was the guy that
the
did
first
Kubo.
time, yeah.
This was so it's a fresh take with new cast with different designs. Like it had all the ingredients to be something new and take the best out of the Michael Bay and add a new flavor with fucking what's Kubo Travis Knight.
Travis Knight, yeah.
You know, it had like, and the more I think about it, the more I think it's just a fucking squandered opportunity for what is ultimately just an entirely average, boring film. The biggest crime of this movie is that it is so fucking boring for what should have been an exciting film.
Fair enough, man. Like for me, this is my number one Transformers movies. I've gone and explored a lot of other people's reviews, Screen Junkies, Chris Stuckman, all these guys, and I feel solid about Bumblebee. I don't think it's amazing. I didn't even give it an honorable mention, but a solid Transformers movie.
I just think that, and I said this in the review, I would rather watch the Bay movies because at least they are just chaotic fucking nutbag.
Give me Bumblebee any day of the week.
Like it's just,
I'm in a weird
I have
position
no
where-
desire to go back to Bumblebee. Like I will not watch this movie again, 100%. I can't even think of it.
I'd watch. I think the Bay movies are garbage, but I'd
Such garbage.
But I'd watch any of them any day of the week. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think he's such a fucking fantastic filmmaker in certain aspects, and those movies.
And the aspects that he lacks, he's so bad at that it's just interesting to
very
watch.
interesting. Have you guys seen Pain Again?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
I
a
really
wild
rate that movie.
That's a wild movie. Yeah.
I rate that movie.
So
But this to me, I feel nothing inside. Like just not even just like it's just I just ugh yeah.
Yeah, so I would say if you want to hear positive things about this movie, go check our review. But yeah, to add to your negative aspects, like you were just saying with Solo, I think the weakest parts of this movie is where it's linking up to previous continuity.
Yeah.
Like just the whole extended end sequence where it's just like now he's a Camaro and now there's Optimus Prime.
People have said that it's a soft reboot, but
Yeah,
I mean,
somebody
like,
commented on our review.
not
Yeah.
soft, not soft enough.
well, that's my
And I-
exactly.
No,
like,
wait.
it's
Okay,
just
so
like,
some-
again, don't try and fucking find in the middle
So
somewhere.
somebody went on our
Do
YouTube
one
review
or the other.
and said this confirmed it's a soft reboot, and I commented back and I said, what does a soft reboot mean in the context of Transformers? And basically what this bloke said was pick and choose whatever the fuck you want.
But that's
Yeah.
my point.
Yeah,
Why?
And I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
What a bitch way out of
I'm with
how to
you.
do
I'm
this
with you.
movie. Just own a fucking your own universe or your own franchise or whatever. Like it just what's the point in being a part of a franchise that you've just part of the franchise.
What?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
This movie just the more I think about it, the more I find such contempt for it.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was just kind of sweet.
Yeah.
So
It's also part of like just the contrarian in me, the people that seem to love this film. Like, ugh.
Decepticons? Doesn't that raise any flags? That
Oh,
gets
great-
it over the line.
great
That gets it
fucking
over the
They're
line
really
for
called
me.
Decepticons.
Number 3 for me, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. What a pile of fucking shit.
Number 3. Okay.
Honestly, I was so, and we talked about this. I remember so distinctly talking about this in the weekly show the week after doing the review and saying how it's funny how we give our review and we try and be I really try and give this film as many points as possible.
Yeah, totally.
But this one has just soured and soured and soured for me until the point where you the other week, Connor, were talking about that scene where the little girl's like, "Do we save the dinosaurs or not?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that for me, like, I can't.
Like
It's-
it's so bad it's
I can't.
comical that like
I get what they were
at the end,
doing.
they're like,
I totally get what they were doing.
The
It was just so
planet's been taken over.
unmasterfully done.
They're
Yeah.
alive like me.
Yeah. The planet's the planet's being overtaken by like 20 dinosaurs. Like, how inept are we as a species? We have managed to kill like 90% of the wildlife out there, and suddenly something with teeth comes up, and we're like, "Ooh, can't deal with this."
I mean, yeah,
we are
those-
culling sharks at an alarming rate, and what? We can't fucking deal with a brontosaurus.
Those-
we
those-
get absolutely fucked.
Those dinosaurs
What
would
the fuck's a brontosaurus first
I
and
don't
foremost?
fucking know.
those dinosaurs would die literally through our inaction. We wouldn't have to do anything.
Oh, it's just like the flu and they die.
To be fair,
War of the Worlds shit.
that didn't happen in that movie. The world didn't get overrun by dinosaurs. The implication,
The
perhaps,
implication
was there. Yeah,
is that.
but that didn't happen in the movie, unfortunately. And they've just confirmed it's not going to happen in the next movie either.
Yeah,
so,
they did.
fuck
Honestly,
that
if
franchise.
you were going to, if you would have to Clockwork Orange me, strap me down, tape my eyes open to get me to watch this again, because there's never a fucking day in my life I'm going to watch Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
And this is the really annoying thing. There are some fucking awesome scenes in that film. That first opening scene.
the opening's great.
Oh, yes.
so fucking
100%.
hectic, and that got me so
100%,
excited when I was watching
100%.
that film. I'm like, holy shit, they're like bringing this back. Like
Yeah.
this is a really eerie, well constructed scene.
Almost like reminiscent of the first scene in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like I mean, just, so many things were done right in that second, and then like next, and you see Chris Pine building a fucking house, and you're like, "Fuck you and everything you stand for."
And then you're like, why is Chris Pine here?
Piece of- yeah. It's just Chris Pine with his dick out. Hey,
Hammering in nails with it.
get it? I'm nailing it.
This movie. This is one of my honorable mentions. One of my two. This
It didn't make your.
it very easily could have. Like my top 5 is 6 movies. Like this is one. Like I had so few movies to actually talk about. This is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
What a pile
What a pile,
of
man.
Triceratops poo.
Number 3, Benjamin.
My number 3 is The Nun. If we're talking about disappointments,
Honorable mention for me.
yeah, holy fuck.
God, that movie sucked.
The Conjuring universe, from my perspective, because I haven't seen the first Annabelle, has been so strong up to this point. Like 2 really good movies and Annabelle Creation, which I think is fucking brilliant. And then this comes along, one of the most memorable parts of The Conjuring 2, and it just sucked so hard.
It really did.
Really sucked.
Like,
I mean, this is in
you can't
my.
really describe it in any other way than
This is in my honorable mentions, and the only reason that it's in my honorable mentions is because I had a bit of a weird kind of in our review, I think I was quite positive on it, and I remember coming out of it.
You gave it as many points as you could, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was defending it
Yeah.
more than I was condemning it,
Wow.
but like when I look back at it, what I remember were the bad parts.
Yeah.
The fucking spitting. Oh, that's just
at the end.
yeah.
Which one?
Actually, you know what? If we're gonna talk about single lines saving a film, then that priest is God. I'm like, come on.
What was that
As if
line
that's
again?
it's a-
Holy shit.
The holiest. As if that is not enough to bring that
Credit
across
where
the
credit's
line.
due. That was
That's
fucking
fucking
funny.
brilliant.
That was the one shining
That was
spot in a
funny.
movie that had a couple of, like, I'll give it more points than I gave in the review. It had a couple of moments of interesting imagery. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't mind when he's like stuck in the coffin and then she's behind him, defying all sense. But yeah, the biggest problem is it's just a massive disappointment. There was just no plot to it. It was just
Yeah.
like set piece after set piece, and they all kind of were not good. And in a year when I'm watching like the highest pedigree of horror movies, the ones that have good scares and a really interesting plot,
It
with
shouldn't
great
be a Conjuring
characters,
film that lets you down.
then
Yeah.
then this is a movie that has like average at most scares and nothing else.
Yeah.
And then they cast Vera Farmiga's sister as someone not related to Vera Farmiga's character, despite looking so much like her, which just distracted
is
me for the
gonna
entire
have
film.
to come back. Like it's just
It'll
How
have
would
to.
you not?
I hope
Like,
they
yeah.
never address this film again. But yeah, what a bummer.
Because that is one thing that we did say positively about that is that even if this film wasn't great, it is a good setup for something else.
Did we say that?
Yeah.
I think we
It
said
was a good setup for the first Conjuring film.
it
Yeah.
could be a
second
similar
Conjuring film.
similar narrative from Annabelle to Annabelle creation.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
think there
Which
could
is-
be good setup there.
Which is...
Fuck it up, learn from your mistakes, and improve.
But I didn't learn from my... No. I made a mistake that I should have already learned from by not watching the first movie and then watching the really good second
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
So you
fucked up this
fucked up.
time. Yeah. I should have known better.
All right, we're on to my number 3, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is one that actually made your honorable mentions for top
I knew
10.
you would.
It's of course I would. It's a fucking shit film.
Okay, all right.
Venom.
You remember how you were
Venom?
very positive about it until we started being positive about it in the
That's
review?
well, I mean, because
His name is Connor Devil's Advocate McGregor.
I was being positive in the sense that I thought we were all on the same page of it being a shit film, and I was being nice to a shit film for some reason. Whereas then you guys genuinely started talking about how you liked it. And I was like, okay, no, we're not on the same page here. This is a shit film.
Connor, I believe, is short for contrarian.
Oh, fuck. That actually made me laugh a lot more. It's not wrong.
yeah. Yeah, I won't say this is a good movie.
No.
I won't.
No.
But
It made your honorable mentions for top 10.
Yeah, but that's why it wasn't in the top 10, because it's not a good movie. But it just...
It stuck with me for
This-
whatever reason. I
Yeah.
think Benny said it quite well. He said the quirkiness, the off the beaten track nature of this film just made it stick out a little bit more for me.
I think that this movie did too much wrong to allow me to give it its probably due credit for what it did right, or more accurately, what it probably did by mistake.
What was your number 5? Sorry?
So my number 5 was Solo.
I just cannot believe you said Solo, Bumblebee, and whatever we're talking about right now
Venom.
is worse than The Nun. Anyway.
Well, because the
no,
Nun-
carry on. We're done with The
I
Nun.
don't know. I just like it doesn't make me angry.
The Nun is done, yeah.
Yeah. And I was originally pretty positive about it. I just like for Venom, it was like the one thing I think that they did potentially on purpose was Tom Hardy, and they let him be this kind of manic character, which I really enjoyed the kind of that aspect of it. There were some good jokes that I think were written into it, but everything else about this film, like the bad guy, the pacing, the fucking just everything around it was so poorly executed that I can't justify it being anywhere but the bottom 5 this year. And I mean, like I don't understand the obsession with this film that people seem to have. Like, yeah,
I feel like a lot
it's
of people
interesting.
don't. I feel like a lot of people don't like it.
But it's gotten like enough. Like
Box office
just
haul, for
box
sure.
office haul. It's
For
gone.
sure.
It's gone crazy.
The consensus I've seen, and I'm probably looking in corners of the internet that sympathize with my views, but a lot of people kind of come at it and being like, oh, that was shit, and then them being like, I really enjoyed that though. Like most people are like, that was really weird. And yeah, like you, George, like this kind of sticks with you in some weird way.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there's genuinely moments where I thought, oh, like that's pretty cool, and then like 2 seconds later, they do something to make me think, okay, yeah, no, we're back to being shit.
Sad face.
I mean, like that
Yeah.
that entire ending sequence was so just fucking poor.
fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Stanley's in 4 of my movies this year on these 2 lists. That's awesome. R.I.P. man.
Stan Lee.
So that was my number 3.
Number 2, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah. Go.
Fuck everyone involved with this movie. I don't care who you are, my son. I'm coming for you.
You soured on this one though.
Yeah, you were
actually
a little positive.
Yeah, no. You know what?
He's got a reputation to maintain.
I've got a cohort of fans that I need to appease. Yeah. Fuck Fantastic Beasts too. No, honestly, I can't stand this shit. I tried to be as positive as I could be in that review, and I gave it as many points as I could. But I can't believe we've got 3 more of these fuckers on the way. That is depressing.
But from
That is
your perspective,
depressing.
this one's been better. Maybe they'll keep getting better,
Yeah.
and the last one will be like
It'll basically
okay.
be like the first 8 Harry Potter films.
And Credence, man, is that whole twist irritated me. It irritates me the more I think about it.
it's a big one.
Yeah, it's fair.
I'm really ready. Harry Potter, the Harry Potter folklore is episodes 1 to 7 or 1 to 8 if you're talking movie mythology, and that's it.
But that's why I'm
the
okay
fucking
with this,
movie.
because
That's it.
the movies 1 to 8 were bastardizations of the books anyways.
God, here we go.
That's fine. That's
So
fine.
like, how is this any different?
the,
Like,
the
just
essence
don't
was
fucking.
there. The essence was there, and there's
Well,
no essence of. There's no
some of-
magic.
some of the-
for me, there's no magic in here, and it boils down to really
Literally
the
magic
simplicity.
everywhere.
I love how that was
Of that.
the like no one could resist. That was the headline of pretty much every review. It's like the new Harry Potter movie has no magic.
I think every
I came
single
up with that shit.
Yeah, I
I
think
just
every
said
single
that.
reviewer, including you, that used that joke should be slapped hard.
I mean, it's a fair criticism. I'm kind of positive on these movies because I have no dog in this
Yeah.
fight. I don't give a shit about
Jude
Harry
Law as
Potter.
Dumbledore.
I really like Jude Law as
really.
Dumbledore. I really like
come
Jude
on.
Law.
So do
so-
I, actually. I
Yeah.
don't know what your fucking issue with Jude Law
I have
is.
the biggest issue with Jude
It's
Law.
not that I can.
I have personal
The
beef
only
with
way
him.
that could have been made worse if it was Mark Strong.
I would have loved it.
And then fucking George would have
As
lost
if
his
you can't,
shit.
as if you can't imagine Mark Strong turning into Dumbledore.
Here we go. Fucking
Shiny head, glowing in the sun.
He's got magic. It's fine. Yeah, I liked a lot of elements of this. I was
Yeah.
very apathetic with a lot of other elements.
There were.
I don't like J.K. Rowling. Nowadays.
No.
She's too much of a public persona, and she's got this weird, like, just right of centrist kind of political approach. That
I would have thought it was the exact opposite. She
Kind of-
seems to be
it's kind of
just
freaking me
left
out.
of centrist.
I don't know, man. These movies, they're saying some weird things, and I don't know if I'm behind it.
You're
If I'm
around it?
Around it, yeah. I'm not around
Well,
it.
I mean,
behind it,
I'm
wow.
genuinely interested by this. Like, what do you,
We'll talk off mic because we don't need to get political in this show. That's not our thing.
I kind of want to though.
I know you do.
We
But
just slam beers and talk movies.
yeah, I will be there for the next 3 of these movies.
Oh no, man, no. Honestly, I
You
can't.
have to, you
I'm gonna
son
have
of
to
a-
call you the fuck out on that because I can't. Honestly, to say
He's
no.
been out of all of us, he's probably been the most positive on these films. How can you call him out
I'm
on being?
calling
Yeah, what are
out
you calling me out for?
I don't know. I don't know. No, I think I'm calling
And
out.
I
I'm
quote,
calling
"I want
out.
to be intelligent."
You know what? I'm calling out the facts that we've got 3 more, and I'm exhausted already. That's it.
But you were exhausted 20 minutes into the first one, which I think is such
I
a
was.
bitch move.
No,
I won't. I won't
it's not
defend.
for me. It's just not for me. And I've spoken to many Harry
Which-
Potter fans that actually really love it. It's
That's
for
nice.
them.
That's good.
It's for them.
It's
not for
a
me.
shame. It's a shame as someone who loves Harry Potter as much as you do that you feel that way. Like, that's,
But you know
that's a
what?
sad
What's
thing.
interesting about this is it doesn't taint the originals for me. I can really separate them.
They are pretty far
They feel
removed.
so separate.
Yeah.
And
I mean-
and that's a positive.
Maybe that's my saving grace because I have I've already learned to separate the movies from the books in such a distinct way because like I said, I think the movies are such bastardizations of the books that you just kind of have to take them as is.
for sure.
And accept that it's never going to have the same kind of magic that the books have. Like I've just done the same thing with this. Like it's not going to hold that same mysticism that, watching Harry Potter go to Hogwarts for the first time, that kind of awe and wonder. Like it's never going to have that, but I'm okay with that because, the movies didn't have the same awe and wonder that the books did. So you just got to learn to fucking move on.
I can't even think of a comparison for me, like what that would be.
Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows?
No, because Ninja Turtles is so great. We don't need to get
but
into
you
this
know-
too much.
you
But
know
Ninja
what-
Turtles is so like every 5 years there's a different
Do you
version
know why
of it,
this is a
and it's
different
completely
scenario? I
separated.
truly believe this. It boils down to the fact that the Wizarding World actually it really needs Harry Potter in there because without his story, the Wizarding World is actually not that interesting. It's
It
actually
doesn't make any sense.
it's actually
disagree
it's
entirely.
actually really it's actually off to the side and really the core of Harry Potter. It sounds redundant, but it's really that character's story and
Which one?
being through Ron Weasley. It's being hearing his story and his and everything other than that is just not up to par.
The world in general, I think you have a point on because that world is so much like
So sketchy.
How did this happen? Magic.
So sketchy.
The
lore is very thin.
But the lore around Dumbledore and all that, I think, is really strong because it comes in and plays such a strong
Within
point.
Harry Potter's narrative.
Within, but I think outside of
You
as well.
sons of bitches, stop it.
Yes,
Stop this.
This is you know
I
what
can't
this
do
is.
this here. I'm
This
gonna fall
is-
asleep.
This is you fucking talking about Hereditary with George, all right? So you can just sit there and fucking cop it. Okay, yeah. Sorry, was that your?
That's my number two.
Ben, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is definitely the worst film I saw in a theater this year in terms of absolute ineptitude. But I don't have the hate for it that I do for number 1. That is Winchester, which I know you guys haven't seen.
I've avoided this on your recommendation.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
And literally, I was just listening to our review, our mid-year review of Worst, and I heard what you talked about it.
Of what?
Our mid-year review
Oh,
of
yeah,
Worst.
yeah.
And yeah, I've noticed I'd ever see this film.
What are those blokes' names? The Spierig brothers?
Spirit Brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
Predestination.
Predestination.
What the fuck?
Daybreakers.
What the fuck?
I back these guys. I really
Me
love
too.
them.
Me too. Jigsaw. A 10 out of 10 stuff.
Did you see?
No,
Jigsaw?
I didn't.
No.
I didn't.
That's a shame.
Because
Guys,
I-
You
you know
guys,
the-
you guys
that-
crushed me, man.
We
You guys
brought
fucking
this up
broke
in the
me. You broke
mid-year
me.
review
You
as
broke
well
me.
Yeah.
about how this is the first Saw movie that he hasn't seen in the cinema.
You broke me.
was this my number 2 mid-year?
It was
up there.
Up there, yeah.
Maybe number
It-
3?
Okay, I can't imagine what was.
and you said the same
why.
thing that you really crushed because of the Sprig brothers being.
Yeah,
Spierig?
it's a damn shame.
Aussies as well.
Yeah, so this is the complete opposite of Hereditary, where it's a haunted house movie where you've seen all this shit before, but in this case, it's done so much worse than every other time you've seen it.
Yeah. And you've seen it before.
It's like, and I hate to say this about our homeboys, the Spirit Brothers, but it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to sit there and watch this movie. I was watching it at a pre-screening. There's only one other person there. I can't imagine having to watch this in an audience, let alone, imagine going to like a Q&A screening or something with the actual creators there. I would have had to leave because it's
Damn.
like, it's got Angus Sampson in it, for God's sake. You know that Australian
Yeah,
I
dude?
love Angus Sampson, man.
I love him except when he's in movies.
He's in Insidious.
I know,
love
and it's
him.
really distracting.
I like it.
And he's
I
also
like
in
it a lot.
Mad Max.
Well,
He
he
is,
is,
yeah.
he is,
Okay, that's
yeah,
good. Yeah,
yeah.
and he's in what, You and Your Stupid Mate or whatever. That movie's called. Anyway,
Okay, that's I mean
Peace
that's not
Never
fair.
Been
and
Done
okay,
That's
again.
not fair.
okay, so unlike those movies, though, this is a period piece in America where he's just
Clearly not
very
meant to be there.
distracting. It's horrific.
Why?
Oh man, and
Fill up Miss Schooner.
yes. Speaking of accents, Helen Mirren is atrocious in this film.
Okay.
She's trying to do some. I think she's trying to do a Southern accent. Maybe I honestly
It's a
can't
shame
tell.
because I think this is a really interesting tale.
It
True
should
story.
be.
Well, I mean,
It
like,
should
in
be. Yeah.
quotations, true story.
Yeah. It's got a few like
Interesting themes.
effective scares on a
Building
on a,
the house
on a very
and-
basic level because it's just like a loud noise suddenly.
Yeah.
But it's all so rote. It's like it's pathetic. It's really bad. Yeah.
I'm glad
All
I
right,
avoided this.
That is all. Yeah.
My number 2 is Lost World. Is it Lost World?
What did you just say?
Jurassic Park.
Oh.
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World. It was one of those.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
was like,
I think
what?
is what you're saying.
Whatever the fuck I was going for.
Worst World. I thought you said Worst World, and I was like,
The Lost
Waterworld.
Boys.
Wayne's World.
Did this make it into your bottom 5, Ben?
This is my honorable mention.
Honorable mention?
Yeah,
Yeah.
number 3 for
This
me.
movie for me was just, I think that they went, for a movie that started so strong, they took it down a path that I was so disappointed with. It just seemed so fucking studio, just everything that's wrong with Hollywood, which is, it seems like a trope to even say that, but like, it was the main leading man, just seeing him there at the beginning making that fucking house, I was like, oh, I instantly hate you.
Yeah, is this like a TV movie from 1992?
Just
Like, what the fuck?
deep loathing for this movie, just because it was like, what are you doing? Like, how does someone write this script and not just fucking hate themselves inside?
I think I hated this movie so much less than the first one.
I didn't even see the first one. I
Oh,
couldn't
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
Because like I
You've done
remember it
yourself a
coming out.
service.
I remember it coming out and just me being like, I'm not touching that film. I'm not doing it. I will. Like I love Jurassic Park. Like I just.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that, huh? Yeah, this movie was definitely a bummer.
And I mean, even just watching, because we this year we watched Jurassic Park, didn't we? And that was such a fucking awesome time watching that. That
Iconic.
it just makes me, just visibly angry that they fucked this movie up. Because this movie, as I said before, has moments of brilliance in it, like that beginning scene. There was moments of the raptor type thing. I can't even remember what it's called.
Oh yeah, the horror house.
The horror house
that
type
was
thing,
cool.
which I thought if they had really
Indoraptor.
focused
Yeah, the Indoraptor,
in and just elongated the slow burn of a horror house stalking thing, I think that could have been such a cool film.
Yeah.
But they instead went for the quick gratification of an action film. There was a scene where what's his Chris
Pratt.
That's not Pine. Fair call.
Pratt.
Where Chris Pratt does this full-on weird action scene that is reminiscent of Hiddleston in King Kong, where he like goes through like 5 trained security guards, and then at the end of it, you remember that this guy is not
like an
a
animal
fucking
trainer.
He's an animal,
It's like a
a biologist.
zookeeper, basically.
Like, what? Like that doesn't? It's so fucking
But
Hollywood.
then,
and, like,
there's his little Buster Keaton pantomime when lava's about to eat him.
Yeah.
He's like flipping
that
around. And,
just-
I mean, that was like on its own was like at least kind of an interesting, entertaining
maybe,
kind of
yeah.
part. But yeah, in the middle of this movie, it's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
right
what
now?
is happening? And like it reminded me of 2012, where the entire movie is like them just getting 2 seconds away from an ash cloud, and you're like, this. Why am I just? You're basically just showing the same thing again and again and again and again. And why am I being entertained by this? And it gets to a point where you just realize, well, actually, I'm not. So yeah, this movie had like just such beautiful moments of that could have been great, and then that ending just did me in. When she's pressing the button, it's like, because they're like me. But like, no, fuck you. That's clearly not the right choice.
You didn't mention the best moment of it.
20 millions.
30 million.
Iconic moments.
I mean, yeah,
I was gonna end
that's
on
why
that.
it's not on my bottom 5 because of 20 million.
Steal your
He
bat.
has saved it.
Yeah.
I've derived so much joy from that one line. that
It's like Tom Hardy in the Dark Knight Rises. I can never hate that movie because he's at least very entertaining. He gave me so much joy.
You can't hate that film. That's got one of the best
Amazing
fight
action
choreography
scenes,
of all time.
Just
Hand-to-hand
maybe the best
combat.
of all time.
Probably the best of all
Better
time.
than the
So,
Raid. That's all I know.
For anyone that has not watched our
like 7 episodes ago.
I think it was a weekly show that we talked about that. George, for whatever reason, thought
Holy
that was
fuck.
the best
Here we go,
hand-to-hand
the
combat.
call-out
You getting
happens.
called out, motherfucker?
The call out fucking
You're not allowed to say
happens.
something that fucking dumb and just be like, oh yeah, we'll just bury that.
I love
It's
it.
out there.
What's your
love it.
favorite hand-to-hand combat?
So
So,
just
we-
quickly on Jurassic before we let it go forever. I think the reason I don't have any real beef for that movie is because I feel like J.A. Bayona was a real step up from Trevorrow in terms of director. So both of those movies
I
kind
feel
of
bad
suck.
for that guy, man. The Orphanage is a killer movie.
He'll be fine. I
I
mean,
hope so.
feel bad for Trevorrow. That dude's having
Fuck,
a bad
He's
time.
done.
Fuck that guy.
Coming back at 3?
He was producing and writing, I think, on the second one. I'm sure he's going to be back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Failing upwards always. So yeah, whatever. This movie, they both sucked. That's
Yeah.
all.
Okay. So I think we're gonna the same thing happened last time.
I'm assuming everyone's.
Yeah.
So
We're still on the
let's-
same page.
Let's do
Yeah,
the
man.
same
So
thing we did last
countdown.
time.
Yeah.
You know,
Countdown.
3, 2, 1.
Ready Player One. I'm so happy to stayed at the bottom of our fucking
Fuck
list.
you, Spielberg. You know what's something we said?
I love you, Spielberg.
You know what we said in the last one? We said if that stays our number one, this will be a good year. There we
Yeah,
go.
that
doesn't really- I mean,
There we
like-
fucking go. I think we might have
It wa-
said
it
the
wa-
5.
That's like saying
I
if
think,
the bottom of the barrel stays at the bottom, you're like, well, yeah,
I
it's
think
just
we
the
actually
bottom
said
of
the
the barrel.
5. I think we said the 5, but regardless, this was our number one worst of the year, middle of the year, and
Yep.
it remains
Stayed
the
there.
same. Fuck, this movie sucks. Honestly, I get so fidgety in movies. Like I start to go like, I need to get the fuck out of cinema, man. I'm gonna fucking lose it.
I need some meth.
And this one, I was about to hurl my popcorn through the screen. Like honestly, this was excruciating. I cannot tell you if there's any movie. Give me literally. Clockwork Orange me, tape my eyes open, make me watch Jurassic World 10 times in a row before I watch this. Fuck you. Fuck you, Ready Player One.
I think you've said it pretty damn well there.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to
Is there
follow
any
that.
more
Like,
hyperbole?
This movie was just ugly and dumb and just unpleasant in pretty much every way possible.
Made me very scared of VR. Like, incredibly scared.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Glad I was able to turn you around a little bit on that.
And then I did some VR at your house,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm sold on this
Hey,
shit.
this isn't terrible. This isn't a shitty movie.
yeah, you know what kind of really gets me about this film is like I remember so little about this film, except for the hate.
Yeah, the rage.
Yeah.
All that resides is the rage.
It's just
I'm so with you. And you know, one thing, and spoilers for everyone. One thing that shat me was like the one scene where they're doing the race and he literally drove backwards and he unlocked the race.
as if like no one had ever thought about that.
This is about video game culture and stuff.
It's like literally the first thing people would
Literally,
have been trying.
like after going forward 7 times on number 8, you go backwards. Like
Yeah, that's the thing. Like this,
so
this
unknowledgeable and so little finger on the pulse of what the subject matter it's actually talking about.
the
You know what
kid-
it
the
is?
whole-
Is Spielberg finding that out and thinking like, no one would know this. That's amazing.
See, I don't feel like Spielberg had any involvement in this film, even because
You're probably right.
the worst of his movies still have something to them. I feel like this was a VFX team making a movie and Spielberg slapping his name on it. And maybe that's just a Spielberg fan of me talking, but there was nothing of him in this. There was like a bunch of references that he doesn't give a shit about because his nostalgia lies a lot earlier than the 80s.
Yeah.
So then it was just, it's all just so insipid and gross. And Chucky shows up and everyone's like, it's Chucky. And everyone in the audience is like, who gives a shit? And I'm saying that's like a Chucky fan. And then there's the whole Iron Giant debacle, which is just that's the worst part of all of this.
Yeah.
Was
No, I think
the gun that doesn't want to be a gun being made a gun again.
One of the things that I thought you would have really clicked with you, and it sticks with me, I think largely because you mentioned it, was just the really insidious message behind the "I'm ugly" thing. Like, yeah, see, it fucking.
This is my most hated part of this film.
Yeah.
And
I actually totally
it's-
forgot about that.
It's like
It's really insidious. Like it's deeply, deeply insidious.
yeah, but it's so hilariously poorly done. It's like,
Yeah.
don't look at me, I'm a monster,
So
and
wait,
she
break
has a
this-
slight discoloration on her eye.
Yeah, so wait, break this down again. So they've got
horrific.
this in this movie. They've got the VR world. They've got the
With
real
their
world,
avatars.
and the guys they know each other in the avatar in the VR world, and they meet each other in the real world. And the girl has a birthmark,
Yeah.
on her eye,
Yeah.
Barely
and she's
visible.
like, "Don't look." She covers it up, and
Yeah, she's like,
and-
you wouldn't. She was like, you wouldn't like me if you met me in real life. You know, I'm this beautiful avatar here, but I'm a hideous monster outside.
And when she's just
then you
actually
see
quite
her,
a pretty
and
girl
she's
and,
she's like an attractive actress looking person with a slight discoloration
Yeah.
around one eye, and it's like, and then he
you totally
but-
missed the point here.
But you could have done that differently. Like without even changing how she looks, they could have been done so differently. But they took the worst possible route, which is him being like, you know, I think you're beautiful, and her being like, really? Like, it's pathetic. It's so bad.
Do you know what would have been way more awesome is if they'd taken the surrogates route and it just been some fat
It was
dude.
Bruce Willis.
It would be some fat obese dude
Hell
just
yeah.
sitting
Which
in
is
a
what they
VR.
talked about,
That
like-
would have been the 2018 version.
Yeah.
Is he falls in love with the person, then finds out that this person is,
Yeah.
you know, nothing like
Yeah.
what he thought they were, and it was still like, but I already fell in love with you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they went for the most just rote route. It was fucking heinous.
Yeah.
This movie, more than the rest of the movies I've mentioned this year elicit no hate from me. This one is just
Rage.
like rage, and I'm not an angry
Rage
guy.
hole.
Yeah, ugh,
Fucking dosage of Rage Hole.
fucking hell.
Yeah.
This is not a good film.
What about honourable mentions if we've got
I've got-
nothing more?
I've got a couple, so I'll run through them.
I'm just going to quickly... Oh, yeah, no, you go. You know.
The Nun was an
Yep,
honorable
me
mention
too.
for me.
Yep.
Me too.
Just because, like I said, I feel like I don't know. I felt maybe it's just a faith in the Conjuring verse as a whole, or I don't know what it was that made me really want
It's a
to like
strong
this
brand.
film. Yeah, and I think there was enough in this film that I thought was decent that
Sure.
I just kind of gave it a pass.
Yep.
Predator. not because, and there's a very specific reason why I didn't put it in the bottom 5, because I think that this film did a lot right, and what it didn't do right, I think, was So there were a couple of things in this film
the ending.
except for the ending, which was just downright horrifically
What happened
bad.
in the ending?
The Predator Slayer, the robot,
yeah.
the Iron Man Predator.
Oh,
Which was
I
just
didn't hate
unacceptable.
that. I didn't hate it.
That was real fucking dumb.
That was so bad.
I really wanted the Terminator to step out of there.
Yeah, well, because I said it. Dun, 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 dun. Also, one of the reasons that The Nun didn't make the bottom 5 is potentially because of a comment that you made, Ben, which was "clever girl," and I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in a cinema. Because we had just watched Jurassic. Like that just fucking killed me. And then
Just quickly on the Predator, I think that's one of those films where I had a great time in the cinema, and the more I thought about it, it dropped significantly.
It's real bad.
It's a
Yeah.
real
And
drop.
I think it absolutely deserves to be
And
mentioned
I
here,
think
unfortunately.
if I watched it again, it would be a lot more of a tempered sort of review.
I think the problem is that we all really like Shane Black, and
Yeah.
like we know that there's the
and we were
ability
drunk.
to like.
I think all of us were drunk.
yeah,
we
there's
were
also that,
hammered.
yeah.
I was absolutely off my trolley.
and then last, what is Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Same, dude.
which
Biggest
I would have
disappointments.
never picked to be in my anywhere near my bottom 5, but
Yeah.
I wait. This is the first film that I've not seen in the cinema that's a Marvel or like MCU film, which I don't even know why, but like, I mean, it's just, I think it was a combination of a couple things, but I've never not been excited to see a Marvel film. And this was the first one where I think maybe a victim of Infinity War success or whatever,
How
like
do you
just
follow
being
that up?
putting so quickly after whatever it was, just turned out to be a bad idea in terms of me seeing it right off the bat. And then when I finally did see it, it was just so not in the league of the first Ant-Man,
Agreed.
or really any of the last fucking just 20 MCU films.
And for me, the cinema experience didn't improve it. I'm still on the same level as you, where Ant-Man and the Wasp was a disappointment. I'm not going to say it was the worst movie in that. It's not a worst movie of the year. It's definitely not a worst movie of the year. It's a very disappointing movie, though.
Very, yeah.
nonetheless.
I mean, I would sooner say that or put that in my top 5 than I would like what was your number 5?
Bottom 5?
Yeah, sorry, bottom 5.
Incredibles.
Incredibles. Like, I mean, like, I think that's such a
yeah.
like The Incredibles is just whatever kind of sequel, meh. But this one was,
Similar situation, though.
yeah, very similar situation. But I think this is more egregious in the fact that the first one shouldn't have been good, and managed it, whereas this one shouldn't have been bad. And,
What's
and
your
somehow
take on
fucking
this?
didn't.
Because your review, I remember listening to it, and you and Lucas sort of were like fairly positive.
Yeah, totally. And I still have goodwill towards the film. It's soft though. Like it's
I mean, so do I in a sense. Like, I think it's not the worst thing in the world, but
It's kind of average in a lot of ways.
yes,
Yeah, and
completely.
it's
I
very
found it
lazy, very
entertaining. I thought there's elements of it I really like. I loved Ghost, which really surprised me because I do think she's underwritten or underrepresented, but
Yeah.
I really like that character still.
And she's got a really interesting look. Like,
Yeah.
really cool casting there, I think.
Yeah. She was really cool. I think she did a lot with the little she had. Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoy those characters. There's only so little I can like, an Ant-Man film with Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas in it and Evangeline Lilly. But yeah, definitely on the lower end of the Marvel stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to mention The Nun and Ant-Man.
yeah. Any other on your
Honourable mentions?
Yeah, a movie. My other most hated movie this year, which I haven't actually seen, is Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's on most people's like top 3 list.
I know. Probably the most successful movie ever directed by a pedophile. I just fucking hate this movie. I hate everyone loving it. I don't think Rami Malek looks anything like Freddie Mercury.
Really?
I think he has a moustache and a singlet. Great. Anyone looks like Freddie Mercury with a goddamn moustache and a singlet. I think he looks like Rami Malek at a Halloween party. I just fucking hate this movie. I really hate it.
That's. I mean that I you really haven't explained why you hate it though.
I think directed by a pedophile is a pretty strong one.
Who is it directed by again?
Brian Singer.
Brian Singer, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a pedophile.
Yeah, he's still got director's credit on it too. Dexter Fletcher.
Didn't he get booted off this for
He
some...
did. He got
Yeah.
fired for very different reasons. But
because he's useless, apparently,
Dexter,
but-
yeah, there was a lot of bad stuff. But Dexter Fletcher took over directing duties, but Brian Singer still got director's credit. And this movie's been so successful, I'm afraid he's going to get some recognition at the Academy Awards or something. I just think it's bullshit. Anyway, I'm just shocked that everyone in 2018, the year of being woke, for whatever that's worth, is so okay with this movie, but nothing else, you know? Anyway.
I think the thing
Weird
that
note
I
to end
haven't
on,
watched
but fuck
it,
this
but
movie.
I didn't watch it, but I think something about this that I find a missed opportunity, let's call it that, exploring some more interesting elements of the character and the man Freddie Mercury.
Totally. I didn't
Very
actually get into that
complex,
element.
Very complex guy, and you watch some interviews with him, and he was wearing a facade, and it would be so interesting to delve into more of that.
Have you seen this film?
No, I haven't. I haven't. But this is what I've heard. It's basically like a greatest hits of Queen. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's like a jukebox musical.
Yeah,
and
and-
there is absolutely an opportunity there. And this movie was initially going to be starring Sacha Baron Cohen,
Yeah.
who I think would have been a much better fit.
Potentially,
and
for
he's actually
sure.
a really good singer as well. As a huge fan of Queen, I would like to see something more along those lines.
I
what
would
you're
like to see a
saying.
really dark tale of a guy who was masquerading as something and trying to hide this whole element of his life, and it's
Do you think
fascinating
do
to
you
hear.
think it's a
do you
dark
guys
tale,
know about his relationship with his wife?
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
he like explore. Like I don't know the capacity
really
of the film.
interesting.
Maybe the film explores that. I'm not knowledgeable to that.
Well,
but I
so-
feel
so-
like the darkness there and the unknown, it would have been more interesting.
And I know this is lame reviewing a movie I haven't seen, but from what I've heard, this movie takes a lot of liberties even for a biopic. Like it turns it into like this weird story about Freddie that is just kind of nothing near what was really
Yeah.
happening. And
I've heard it's
don't
very
like it.
bubblegum and not very reflective. Nonetheless, if you're into Queen and want to see the songs and have a good entertaining time, it's a good one for it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Any other honorable mentions?
That's all for me. This has been a good year.
Yeah.
Mm.
Connor?
No, that's it. I don't think there's anything really else this year that...
Well, there we have it, guys. What a year it's been. Thanks for all your support. This has been a huge year for us. Numbers are up significantly. So thank you so much for everyone that's tuning in. And Connor, you're off to Canada. So Benny and I will be manning the fort whilst you're gone. I think we're going to be doing an Aquaman review. So
seriously?
yeah, 26, bro. We're
I'm
going to have to
actually-
negotiate that.
Surely you can wait 10 days.
I don't know. Don't know if it's possible.
Depends how good it is.
Motherfucker.
Well, there we have it. More antics to come. We got some really cool stuff. Super excited for 2019. It's going to be awesome. And we'll be back. The boys